Okay, so we're live. This is day 3. We're doing this for 90 days, I guess. Some days I won't be able to be here, so I hope Higgy can be here. But here we are. If you're watching this not live, split around. You know, people like watching the whole thing, but these are the types of ones that have moments of downtime and moments of uptime. But if you're watching it right now, please ask me questions below. I'm going to do a 1,000 subscriber special later tonight, just a regular old stream with the reaction type stuff. But today we're working on, getting everything going. We're doing day 3. We've been doing this every day, so it's going to form up as we go. But we got somewhat of a structure so far. I'm talking to nobody. Well, people will watch it.
Talking to me, homie. I'm right here.
That's true. You are right there. That is true. Let's see. Let's make sure we're all good on the YouTubes. It is the WeWorks for Friends stream. Hello. Okay. Who's here? Someone's here. Okay. Yeah, so how's your day going, brother? Ruther?
So far, so good. Got up kind of late this morning.
Don't talk to me like that.
Working on some stuff. Drove up to Dallas. Saw all the homeless people I was telling you about. That was kind of crazy. But yeah, I'm at this little cafe on the river down here. It's pretty cool. Pretty unique. Everybody's decorated for Christmas, even though it's 70 degrees outside.
Everybody's got what?
Christmas decorations everywhere, man. If you look behind me, you see red bows and garland. And everybody's ready to go with all
Oh,
of it.
that's dope. Okay.
But it's also 70 degrees outside. That
a
doesn't
little
stop
early
people
for
from
that.
wearing coats.
Okay. Who's in the comments? Frenchie, is that you? You just seem to always be around. You're not. I hope Frenchie's not French intelligence. Could be. You got anything you want to throw up?
I did have a video that I started watching about scripting, specifically YouTube videos. I don't know anything about scripting or script writing. So for me, anything that I learn is going to be an increase from where I am right now. But what about you? Where are you?
No, I mean, I don't have anything specific. You can throw anything up. I got some editing to do. I mean, I can show you what I got in the script if you want.
Yeah, let's watch this video, do the thing in the script, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay, go for it. I hate my beard being gone, but that's all right. That's what happens.
I didn't notice. I noticed something was off. I didn't know what it was. Why'd you shave it?
Yeah. What?
Why'd you do it?
I mean, honestly, man, I was like, I was picking at it. I was like, I normally don't do that, but I was just anxiously pulling my hairs out to the point where it was gone. Like there was a whole chunk gone, like a big chunk. And I was like, oh, fuck, I got to restart.
That's a great reason.
Yeah, it's fine. I wish I had a bigger beard because I'm going on that bear hunt next week and I have some content ready for that. Trying to work on my stuff soon. I might buy an action camera too.
Okay, that'd be kind of cool. What kind of action camera are you looking at?
Well, I was looking at like the GoPros because like that's where I thought to start, but I figured there would be a better brand, and there is. So I think I'm gonna go with an Insta-X 360, or there's another Insta-X. I think there's oops, there we go. I think what I'm going to do for these streams is get my laptop set up as one that I can like have something constantly sharing to show like stats. You there?
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. I like that. All right, I'm going to play this if you're ready.
In this video, I'm going to share with you how I write my scripts for YouTube videos to ultimately save me time and create better videos. Coming up.
You got it.
Simple introduction.
Hey, my name is
Save my
Mo
time
with
and
Big
make-
Media, and we
save
had a question
time
come
and
in
make
recently,
better YouTube
and Gil
videos.
asked how to write a.
That's it. That's all I was saying.
Okay, I can't hear you over the audio of the video. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Script for a video? That's a great question, and I'm excited to dive in and share with you exactly what I do for my YouTube scripts and how it helps me shoot better videos. Now, the generic answer of how I write these videos would be the hook, the content, and then the call to action. I'm gonna show you this quick video that I just recorded recently where I go in depth on what each of those sections mean, and then we're gonna come back and I am going to show you what my scripts look like and share some tips with you and go really in depth on how to actually write the script for your next YouTube video. So first, check out this video. Now, a script really can be as simple as writing down or typing all your content out. What is it that you want to share in the video? That's going to be the main chunk of your video, is that content. Now, before that, you're going to want to think about a hook. The hook is the very beginning of the video when you tell your audience what they're going to learn or what they're going to gain from watching this video. For example, at the very beginning of this video, I said, now before pressing record on your video, there's actually a lot of work and preparation that goes into it. So today I'm going to share the 5 things that you need to do before shooting your next YouTube video to get more views and to get more done in less time. So someone who wants more views and wants to get more done in less time is going to stick around and see what I have to say. So that's now at the front of your script. You then have your content, and at the very end, we are going to have a call to action. One of the best ways for the YouTube algorithm to be on your side is when you keep viewers on the platform. So at the end of every video that we do on YouTube, we usually say, hey, if you enjoyed this video, then you'll probably really enjoy this video. So if you click on the screen right now, you can go and watch that. And this helps our videos get in that YouTube algorithm, ranking in search, and getting in those suggested videos. Now that you understand the format and the general idea of the script, let's really dive into the details of how I do this. Now, there's really 2 different ways to write a script. So right now, I'm not using a teleprompter, but I have a script that is sitting actually on the ground on my computer screen. And there's 2 ways to write it. The first way would be word for word, and the second way would be to use bullet points. Word for word would be writing your script out exactly what you're going to say from start to finish, and then you would look at it, you'd memorize it, and you would say the script back to your camera. So this is a great option for people just getting started and they have good memorization and maybe they can't really freestyle in front of the camera. This is also a great way to write out your hook at the beginning of the video. I write out my hook word for word because it's so important, and I really spend a lot of time thinking about the words I'm going to use to hook in the audience.
I mean, the first 30 seconds
so when
should
it
be
comes to the hook,
scripted
I always
entirely.
do that word for word.
The first 30 seconds should probably be scripted entirely. You know what I mean?
It seems like it. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is also my feeling.
Continue.
There's also some cons writing a script word for word. You know, it can get pretty long and it can take a lot of time. If you're not using bullet points and you're typing everything out, then it's going to take a bit longer to write it out. And then also when you're filming it, you may have some issues and you may need to keep looking down or looking at your script to talk to the camera so you can memorize it. And it usually takes a bit longer to nail the video when shooting it when you write your word for word script. Now, if you have a teleprompter, then word for word script would work perfectly for you. But if not, like I said, you know, this is great for beginners and for those people who can't really freestyle. Maybe you're not comfortable in front of the camera yet, then you might need to use this. And then eventually over time, you can start using bullet points. And that would be the goal, is to use word for word scripts while you're getting started, but then over time, start to use bullet points, and then you can use that and you can start to freestyle and practice that more. My encouragement to you, if you're writing it word for word and you're not using bullet points and you're just memorizing the lines, try this in your next video, is doing word for word, but maybe 1 or 2 things that you're really confident about, try doing that in a bullet point and just freestyling and see how it works. And just doing this, not for the entire video, but just for a little chunk of the video, is going to help build up your confidence to let you know that you can do bullet points. You can
one thing
freestyle to the camera, and
that's really good about using Descript is that it makes cutting out and selecting things extraordinarily easy. So when you're editing with Descript, and I think that DaVinci is also implementing this, but when you're editing with Descript, it gives you the transcription, right? And you can edit by just cutting and copying, and you can listen as well, but you don't have to. So it's like you can select out the different parts that you want. And if you need to reread a certain part, it's no big deal. And obviously I use the word Cleveland, which has now become like a thing with you know, the tight knit little audience that we have here. Like Cleveland's a thing now, so like it's doubly good. But yeah, I forgot my main point. I might have already said it. Need to be more concise.
You're talking about the benefits of using the script because it allows you to edit.
Yeah. So if you don't script the video, I mean, you can get better at it, but it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to like shift it around. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Continue.
That you're able to do it, but you know, start a little bit at a time, and then eventually your whole video, you may be able to use bullet points and freestyle and talk to the camera. Now, coming up next, I'm going to be talking about bullet points and how I use that for my script. And then I'm going to share a hack with you that is going to help you get more likes by implementing this into your script. And it's also going to help you with increasing your audience retention rate. So stay tuned for that. But first, like this video and then comment down below what other kind of questions do you have about producing YouTube content. Let me know in the comments below, and maybe we'll answer your question in the next video. Bullet points are what I use on my scripts when it comes to the content part as well as the call to action part, because I feel comfortable freestyling to the camera and talking using bullet points. Now, if you can just talk to the camera and freestyle, then I definitely do recommend bullet points. But again, this takes some time to get used to being in front of the camera. And so take your time, be patient with yourself. But this is definitely a great way to do it. And I found bullet points to be most productive for me when shooting my YouTube videos. I've actually pulled up my script right here for this YouTube video. I'm going to show you, this is what you're seeing on the screen right now is this script. If we scroll down to where I'm at right now, you can see this is my little section for this piece of the video. And I've written bullet points are better for the person who can freestyle and maybe isn't the best at memorizing. Content and call to actions are bullet points because I can freestyle at it. So it's not really even full sentences, but I'm just writing down the main points that I want to talk about. And then underneath, you can see that I am going to show you my script. And these are the bullet points that I have. And then I like to look at the camera. I like to hit those things that I wanted to talk about, but then as I'm talking, I might hit other points and talk about other things as well. So we can see on the script, you know, some of my bullet points are really short, some are a bit longer. And so it really just depends with you and how much you need. Sometimes I need a bit more words so that I can read it before I talk to the camera and shoot it. And I read the bullet points before talking to the camera. And this helps refresh my memory so that I don't miss an important point when I'm talking to the camera. You definitely want to experiment with this. You might be able to just do really short bullet points with your main points. As for me, sometimes I need a bit longer sentences and it helps me memorize it better. So find out what works best for you. Now, this bonus tip that I talked to you guys about getting more likes and increasing audience retention rate is actually in your script incorporating another call to action before the end, but in more of the middle, maybe 75% of the way through the video, where you ask people to like the video and to comment down below. These things can actually help you get more likes just by asking the audience to like the video. They might go down, like the video, leave a comment, and this is great for the YouTube algorithm. The other thing you want to do here is make it another hook. So I teased what was coming up in the video by telling you I was going to show you how to get more likes. I was going to show you how to increase that audience retention rate. And you guys are sticking to this part of the video because you heard me say that and you wanted to find out what it was. Yeah. So when you're shooting YouTube videos, find ways maybe in the middle, maybe 60, 70% of the way through to tell your audience what's coming up so that they don't get bored and they click off, but they want to stick to the end and they want to listen to what you have to say. So yes, you can use a hook at the very beginning, but it's also good to remind your audience what's coming up in the video so they stick around. For my call to action, I typically just do one bullet point and it is the video that I want to send you guys to. And since we are here at the call to action, the end of the video, you can click on the screen right now to learn how to come up with good video ideas for YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.
Okay. Sweet. Okay. Do you want me to share now?
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting because this is going to be editing reaction content. It's meta. It's freaking inside the thing, right? So
Yeah.
this is we're doing a live stream, and over here I got content from a past live stream. So it's a live stream inside a live stream, which is obnoxious and extraordinarily like Gen Z like. But yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is what's happening now, and you can't even hear it, can you?
No, I can't hear it.
Well, this is what we're working out. This is day 3. We're going to be pros at this.
What is the content that you're reacting to in this?
Well, it was different videos, so this was just one of them. I think it's annoying because I can share. Yeah, that sucks because I can share system audio, but that'll bring in your voice too. So I won't actually. Yeah, just sorry. Can you find another video? Actually, we don't need to show the edit of the edit. You get another video. If you're in the comments, let me know. Hello. And also, I got that thing below. I'm going to do a FAQ later. I'm going to have to like dig through and collect where people asked questions. I should have. This was like Frenchie's idea today. I should have like planned it earlier. But if you got any questions for me, anything at all, I mean, when I was doing it, I was thinking like culture and anthropology type questions, but it could be anything as well. What I'm saying is I prefer any random question that you're curious about. I don't personally think I'm personally that interesting. I think the ideas are more interesting, but ask whatever you want is what I'm saying. Damn, how did you become so gay? It takes years and years of practice.
Is that the question you want me to ask?
No, I mean, you can. Oh, I love this guy.
Me too. This is great.
Ever think about, but I'm going to come back to that. So why has Thomas Frank pretty much stopped posting on his main channel, and why has that allowed him to make even more money than ever?
Did you see what he did there?
Essentially, the audience needs to know pretty much at all times what it is they're waiting around for next. We're solving the ultimate question. How does he make so much money? That's what we're waiting around for, but not losing sight of the fact that you need to have these mini payoffs kind of throughout the video that serve as building blocks to that ultimate thing.
That's George Blackman, a YouTube scriptwriter who's been hired by YouTubers like Ali Abdaal, Mike Shake, and Ed from Film Booth to write videos for them, like the one you just saw. Scripting is one of the most important parts in the video making process that you are overlooking. George says that it can make or break your video.
If you want that full creative control, as I say, you need to know what all the beats are that you're going to hit. Unless your audience knows, why am I giving this guy or girl my time for the next minute? It's very easy for them to just think, I can't be bothered to wait another 10 minutes to get to the end of this.
So in this episode,
I said that guy looks like me if I were feminine and British.
But
That's how I
instead,
feel about it.
feminine and gay. I think that you are feminine and gay, so it's pretty close.
Oh, okay. You too. Okay, you and I are enemies now.
you'll learn how a great video starts, the 4-hat writing process to make better videos, tips for finding and hiring a scriptwriter, and how to craft the perfect call to action to end your videos. Where does a great video start? How do we get this thing started so that we're giving ourselves a good chance for this video working?
So the idea generation is obviously a big one. And I know you've spoken about that with Paddy Galloway, and that's like the big thing that kind of comes up a lot of the time is the idea generation. I'm usually less involved in that phase. My role tends to come in as like, how do we, once we've got that idea, how do we frame it? And that's a huge one. And I think something creators often think is like, oh, I'm excited to talk about this topic, and I know roughly what I would want to say about it. Maybe it comes from a conversation you've had with somebody at a cafe or at a pub or something. And it feels like this is something I could intuitively just talk really compellingly about for a while. But in my experience, and what I find with the one-to-one calls that I do with creators, is that your first idea is often not going to be the best one. So I take an example. I was speaking to somebody recently who they wanted to talk about Hollywood reboots, right? Which is obviously a trend at the moment. It has been a trend for a little while now, the kind of incessant rebooting of basically everything we know and love from our childhood. And they came to me saying like, I want to talk about this. But they weren't fully sure like how to approach it. And their first instinct was like, well, why don't we just talk about, the pros and the cons of doing Hollywood reboots? Like, why it's good, why it's bad, which is like, cool. Like you could do that. But by itself, that feels, again, like a conversation you might have with somebody down the pub. A second angle that we talked about and that they came to me with was, why don't we talk about why Hollywood keeps doing it, right? Like why, when they have the option to make new and fresh and interesting things, do they continue to reboot stuff? But again, that seemed like a question that you can answer immediately, either intuitively or you can Google it. But the answer is money, because it makes money. That's not an interesting thing. And if you're going to try and delay revealing that answer to your audience for 10, 15, 20 minutes or like for hours if it's a video essay potentially, that's not something that is going to convince many people to stick around because it's quite intuitive. But then we landed on the idea of, what if we talk about why do we keep going to see it? Why is it something that I know I'm not going to enjoy? In all likelihood, balance of probability. I've seen enough reboots. I've been frustrated enough times going to the movies that I'm not going to enjoy seeing this. But why is it that I keep giving Hollywood my money? So we answer that question easily. It makes them money. Who makes them that money? Me. But what? So like, it's almost like an invasive look into like my own behavior. Like the sort of thing I think it will have crossed my mind as an audience member in the past. But having that presented in front of you,
such a weird thing to just hop in for a moment to like just laugh. Like, is that how you can make reaction content? Is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna get that bad at it. We're just gonna hop in every once in a while, just and then play another 45 seconds of some other guy's thing.
He probably recorded it. I don't think so. I think he recorded the laugh in post. I think.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm kidding him.
No, you're not.
Presenting it, framing it as a look into like you and your behavior. Again, that's quite a specific example, but I think that's basically the kind of the checklist that you want for how you frame your video. It's got to be something that's interesting for you. It's got to be something that's deeply interesting for your audience. It's got to evoke some kind of emotion, like the kind of emotional response I was having just then, like kind of frustration or whatever it is. And then it's got to open multiple curiosity gaps. It's got to be the kind of thing you couldn't just Google and find out very, very quickly. Because again, we're trying to convince people to give us a significant amount of their time when at the click of a button, they've got thousands of other choices. So hitting on that right framing of the idea is paramount.
What I think I'm hearing, and tell me if I'm hearing this incorrectly.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking out loud a little bit. Ideas are not the same as topics. Like you can have a topic that you want to explore. That is not inherently the idea for the video. The idea is almost like a Russian nesting doll inside of the topic to say, how do I frame and almost like carve out how I'm going to address this topic?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Couldn't have put it better. That's the succinct answer for what I just said.
So what are some of the trends you see as to what that behavior is, or what mistakes people are making early on and throughout the beginning portion of a video that causes people to lose interest and tune out?
It usually comes down to the idea of payoff as its umbrella kind of term. Essentially, the audience needs to know pretty much at all times what it is they're waiting around for next, which sounds pretty obvious.
Yeah,
but it can be very easy, I think, when you are in the process of making a 10-minute video to forget to signpost those things frequently throughout the video. So although you might be doing a tutorial video where you're showing them, by the end of the video, you're going to know how to do this. Or it might be, for example, I wrote a breakdown of how Thomas Frank makes however many hundreds of thousands of dollars he makes a month. We're solving the ultimate question. How does he make so much money? That's what we're waiting around for. But in the kind of, the 7-8 minutes before that, what are the things that we are, the little kind of aha moments, the little tidbits that we are excited to find out about in the next minute or 30 seconds even? And so I think it's about figuring out, first of all, what the grand payoff is. And I've actually written about this in the newsletter that I've written that's going out today is about identifying that grand payoff, but not losing sight of the fact that you need to have these mini payoffs kind of throughout the video that serve as building blocks to that ultimate thing. And unless you're signposting that, unless your audience knows, why am I giving this guy or girl my time for the next minute? It's very easy for them to just think, I can't be bothered to wait another 10 minutes to get to the end of this.
These types of signposts and planning for how and when the payoffs happen throughout the video, it sounds like something that's difficult to do without thought or intention.
Yes.
Like it seems like I'm probably not going to walk in, hit record, and just do these things really well.
You're right. Yeah, this is actually, funnily enough, earlier this week or last week, maybe I did Justin's Creator Debates podcast, and we were talking about script writing and whether you should script or whether you should just wing it. And there's, of course, a place for just winging it. And especially, I think the conclusion we came to is when you're maybe first getting started in all of this, it feels like a lot to learn how to be a videographer and a sound mixer and also a script writer and a storyteller and all this stuff. Maybe it is okay to just get some bullet points and just get used to speaking to camera. But I think if you want total creative control
you can't
over
do
the
too much
package
at
that you're
once.
putting
That's
out,
really good advice.
there has to be some.
You gotta be okay with an imperfect product because it's always going to be
do.
imperfect.
You do
Like
have
I've
to be
said,
okay.
and I think JC or somebody else has defended some of my earlier video content, especially. But like, I thought that stuff sucked, dude. Like, I really thought that stuff sucked. And I put it out anyway. I was like, especially the shorts. I thought they were pure garbage. And I was like, I don't want to put this out, but I was like, I got to learn. So I got to see how this stuff does. But that's fine.
100%. I mean, and you have experienced, as has Kenny. Kenny was talking about this a little bit the other day, but that feeling of overwhelm when you do try to focus on everything at once, when you're not just winging it in certain areas, right? And that's, I think, counterproductive to some degree.
Yes.
Some thought when you sit down. You want to have it mapped out as much as you possibly can. And it's okay. It's not like you have to stick word for word to what you've written. If you feel like you need to skip over a little bit or you feel the urge to just like rephrase something in the moment, totally fine. But if you want that full creative control, as I say, you need to know what all the beats are that you're going to hit. Because if you're going to sit down and just start talking, it's very easy to forget, what did I say a couple of minutes ago? Have I teed this up properly? Have I properly foreshadowed what's coming next? Does this make sense as a step-by-step for my audience to reach that grand payoff? It's harder to tell if you haven't got a plan.
I love that you call out the fact that you don't have to have the entire process dialed to a 10 and all the steps within it when you get started. Because I think that's really important for a lot of people listening to hear, which is like, yeah, we're laying out how people at the top level are approaching this, and you can have that.
JC is your most loyal supporter. I respect
Appreciate that, JC. I do.
But hey, they didn't suck. Your new ones are just better. Both
Okay,
things.
whatever, bro. Whatever.
In your windshield, I guess it's not your rear view mirror. You can have that in front of you and know that's what you're working towards, but you don't have to be there right now. After a quick break, George and I dive into the specifics of writing an effective script. So stick around. We'll be right back. If you know me, you know how much I believe in memberships. Might know that Jay sent you. So we have an idea that hits those check boxes and we feel good about it. Now what happens to get this thing written?
The key thing, and it feels like a real annoyance for a lot of people, and I know as soon as you hear the words come out my mouth, it's going to feel like, an immediate stomach drop. But drafting up an audience avatar so you can be laser focused on basically everything, the language you're using, how you're constructing your scripts, the topics you choose, all of that, you need to know who you're talking to. And it's the same in marketing. It's the same in everything. Like, this is basically marketing.
In this idea of an audience avatar, are you suggesting that that's something I do for my channel and each video is addressing that audience? Or are you saying each video we need to create this avatar?
It depends. Usually, I mean, one for your channel is definitely what you would need overall, but there will be some times where maybe you're looking to reach an audience that is not part of your usual cohort and you're actually looking to grow the channel in a different direction, in which case, and I know this is a bit of a stressful, annoying thing to do, you could consider doing that. I think it will make your life down the line when you're actually coming to write it much easier, because it actually cuts off the number of choices you have at a given point for how you structure it, the language you use. Again, we can come more onto that in a moment, but it's certainly an option you have, but you should definitely have one for your channel as a whole, yeah.
And when you're doing this, what level of depth are you thinking? Are you naming this person? Are you talking about their demographic information? Like, when is the avatar clear enough?
I think it depends. Well, when I worked with Ali, I saw for a course that he was launching, somebody was doing the whole, like, they have a name, they have an exact occupation, like all of that stuff. I've never tended to go that deep, and that may be an error on my part. For me, it's like just using all the opportunities you have to speak to your audience and constructing an image as best you can, just from the responses they give.
What's my image?
It's then gathering all of that information into a Notion table or a
celebrity image. Oh, why do I still have it like this? I want it like that.
I've got it. It's right here.
What?
So I've
What
got
do you-
your
You
image.
have
I've got
my image? What do you mean you have my image?
your image. We got it from Discord.
Oh, that right. Yeah, that was the most forgiving of the views of my image. So let's not.
For a document or something like that, and kind of just piecing together from that who it is that you're talking to. I've never gone as far down the road as naming them, but that is something that some people prefer to do. I just that to me feels like one step beyond what I need to do. I'd rather get on with writing.
All right, so we've got the avatar dialed in. Once you have that, what's the next step?
Then it's kind of a free-for-all in terms of the ideas that you're getting down on the page. And this is the kind of process that I follow when I'm writing basically any script. It's like a 4-hat structure. And the first hat is what I call the artist, where it's free-flowing. You're just getting ideas down on the page. You don't have to think about the structure. You don't have to think about how one thing is going to lead to the next. All you really need from all of that is to have figured out what that grand payoff is, what the big moment that we're going to focus on at the end is, what the audience is sticking around for. But beyond that, it's just, what do you instinctively think this video should contain? And you just go for it and you don't think.
That's my favorite hat to wear. So 4-hat structure. Number 1, artist. What's number 2?
The second hat is the architect's hat. Is that a hard hat? Would they wear a hard hat when walking around a?
I think so. I think that, well, I don't know. That's more like a construction hat.
More of a construction hat. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe that works. The architect, the constructor, however you like to phrase it. And that is where you start to flesh out that structure, right? And that's where, from all these ideas that you've got, you start to eliminate the ones that you realize aren't going to be super interesting. And you figure out the necessary steps that will build up towards that final payoff. And this is a key point, especially when working with clients, where you need to basically get that okayed with them. Because again, they'll have had this idea with you. You'll have kind of figured out what the framing is going to be. But now you need to clarify with them whether or not this is the order of events they want to talk about. This is how they had kind of foreseen it in their mind. So getting that structure dialed in is part 2.
Let's keep going. Part 3.
The third hat is the writer's hat.
Ah.
I don't know what kind of hat a writer wears. I'm not much of a hat wearer myself. I need to commission my own hat. I don't know. So that's where, again, you're now starting to expand the bits in between this kind of list that you have, right? Where you've got all the key points that you're going to hit. Now you're connecting the dots, essentially. There needs to be something progressing, regressing, or changing at any point in your script. And it can be hard to see this before you sit down and start to really write it out in full. And something that I've learned from one of my clients recently is that at the top of the scripts now, I'm writing a couple of sentences about what is the goal. So the goal either of, if it's an entertainment video, the person who's in it doing the thing, or if it's something educational, what is the goal of the person watching? Like, what do they want? And what does success look like? Then what does failure look like? So again, entertainment video, what does it look like? What is it they do that is bad and takes them away from the goal, sees them regress away from the goal? Or again, if it's the viewer we're talking about in an educational video, it's what are the kind of obstacles to their success? What are the things that they're worried about, the objections they might have? And then the third thing is emotion. What emotions might they feel as a result of either the successes or the failures? Just having that at the top of my script is something I then refer back to constantly. So when you're writing the scripts, you want to be thinking, is anything happening here in this kind of paragraph or this segment of the video? Are we progressing towards something? Are we failing away from something? Or is there some kind of change of emotion going on? And again, what you're trying to avoid when you're doing all of this is too much task switching. So it's kind of, again, like almost another free-flowing point where you're not thinking too much about retention at this point. You're just thinking, can I get from A to B to C in a way that makes sense? Maybe you're thinking of kind of half-formed B-roll ideas and visual cues and things that you might want to be putting in with all of this. But again, the key thing here is making sure that by the end of your time as the writer, you've got the thing that gets you from the start to the finish. And that brings you on to the wizard's hat. And this is where you now start thinking about the retention stuff. And there's, I guess, a lot of stuff we could talk about here, but particularly when it comes to payoffs, it's thinking, and this is something I do sometimes, is literally going through the video and highlighting every time I think there is a moment where the audience is going to go, oh, or they feel like they've learned something that they didn't know before. Going through and highlighting that stuff makes it incredibly visually evident if you have huge swathes of the script where the audience isn't learning anything, where they necessarily don't know what's coming up next. And that's when you can really start to play around with that structure and think, okay, where are these kind of reveals that I want to put into the script? Where are these big moments of emotional release or whatever it is. It's hard to be too specific when we could be talking about a tutorial or an entertainment video or whatever it is. I really swear by highlighting whatever it's payoffs, or it could be something else, but it helps you get a sense of the visual structure of the script, and that's where you can start to rearrange things.
I think the tendency that I have when I get into script writing is being very literal and almost like maybe too economical. You know, it's very utilitarian, especially in the first draft, where it's like, all right, I want to explain this thing to you. And if I'm not careful, I end up with like a 2-minute video because I've just like said everything in the most efficient way possible. But I realize it's not actually necessarily helping the viewer, because saying something efficiently doesn't mean that it's then heard, understood. So talk to me about when I'm wearing my writer's hat, which I think is where a lot of your specialty comes in, and the wizard hat, as you're saying. But I think the writer is where a lot of people are probably struggling the most obviously. How does that process look and feel? You know, I want to understand more about how this looks when you're actually digging in and writing the script.
Yeah, so I really like what you said there about efficiency won't necessarily equal something learned and remembered, essentially. Something really cool that I picked up from somebody that I was doing a one-to-one with. I think I was reviewing one of their scripts, and I actually saw in their notes they had this this kind of thing in like bold starred text. It was make the audience feel smart, and that really stuck with me, and that's something that I think about a lot now. So with the example you just gave, right, where you're super efficient and you talk through the video and you're done in 2 minutes, they've got the information, that's all well and good, but it's not memorable, and they haven't had to engage particularly hard to receive that information. So something that I see all the time with scripts that need a little work, and it's such a simple fix, is giving those payoffs a little bit too early, and then feeling like to pad the runtime, you then have to talk about it more after you've kind of given away what the answer is. And that might seem like something you think, well, I wouldn't do that if I've given away the answer. Why would I keep talking about it? But you see all the time, like listicles are a real bandit.
Isn't that what he's saying?
I'm sorry, ask your question again.
Isn't he basically in another way talking about like not only completing the promise, but like going above and like what's it called? He's fucking
making it understood, expounding on it. I think it's
no, I mean that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like he's you know, it's fucking the thing. The hell am I talking about?
Context?
What?
Are you talking about context? What do you?
No, it's you follow through on the promise and then you exceed the promise.
Oh, I see. Okay, so going above and beyond your promise, delivering more than they expected. Yeah, I think that is what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's it.
For this, where you're like, okay, 10 things that I can't go without when I leave the house. And it's like, number 1, my house keys. And immediately I'm watching that thinking, well, I know why your house keys, because you need to get back in the house. Oh, it's easy. But then with this sort of listicle, you'll see them then say, I
What's up?
Always have my house keys with me, and I always keep them in my pocket because I need to remember where I've kept them, so that when I get back to the house later, I'm like, I get it. I got it. Like, I figured this out 10 minutes ago. Again, not making the audience feel smart. You give that payoff a little later. And this is, again, I know you spoke with Ed about this, and this is his real kind of zone of genius, is doing something that gives the audience a clue as to what's coming up, but without revealing what it is we're going to talk about. So he's like the king of YouTube metaphors, right? And that was something that was really fun when I was working with him. It was getting to come up with really interesting metaphorical ways of explaining things. And so, as I say, the tendency to pad things out, there's no point doing it if you've already given the payoff. You need to come up with a metaphor or give them a kind of interesting route in to the point that you're about to make before making the point. And again, you can do this really easily, literally just switch the order they come in the script.
This is good. This reminds me of a video we did on the channel about.
Do you want to play this on your end? I've got to bail. I've got to go.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm sorry,
that's okay. That's fine. No, that's all right. I'm gonna end it now, and I'm gonna be back later, guys.
Okay. If you stream before I have my thing this evening, let me know. I would love to get on for your 1,000 subscribers.
Okay.
All right, man. I'll talk to you.
Bye.